Hi, this is Alexa,
Taffy,
and Madia,
and we are three co-hosts at Growin Glowin.
This is a podcast that is more like your best friend, discussing issues important to us as young adults.
We converse on topics related to all forms of justice, using our intersectional identities to analyze the world around us as we
glow and grow.
Welcome to our first episode of Growing Glowin. Today we'll talk about identities, and we'll discuss identities that we each connect with, and we'll be exploring what brings us most joy, what brings us pain, and other ideas like that.
Perfect. So
Yay.
I'm Maria.
Oh,
and
I'm Taffy.
yes.
and this is Alexa.
Yeah.
We're your three co-hosts on Growing and Glowing.
Amazing. Growing and glowing. Always. Just, always trying to grow, always glowing, being who we are. So I guess to start, I'll ask you guys, what are some aspects of your identities that you're, comfortable sharing with whoever's listening? And I guess you can go first and I can go.
Okay. So, Alexa, my identities would be woman, female, and I go by the pronouns of she and her. Agnostic, yeah, definitely. Vegan, low impact, plant lover, as in not plants I consume, but gardening and farmer, aspiring farmer, I guess would be one. I also identify as pansexual. I identify as ambitious. Those are, I guess, of many other identities, but these are the ones I guess. Oh, and also sexual assault survivor. So those are the biggest identifiers or identities that I connect with the most.
Mm-hmm. Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Mari just pointed at me, so I'm all right, I guess I go next. Hello, I am Taffy. I am Afro-Caribbean. I think that part of me is pretty big. It kind of influenced my culture. I'm majoring in video production because I love storytelling. I've always loved storytelling, and my goal as a storyteller is to represent identities, hence this entire episode topic, marginalized identities that need to be seen and portrayed better. The world is not white and heteronormative, so we need to have more identities that reflect the world around us. I'm also Christian. Honestly, my religion, I guess faith is something that I struggle with sometimes, but I very much believe in God. I very much believe in a higher power. My pronouns, she, her. It's a journey, hence the name of this podcast, Growin Glowin. So I'm growing into those, and I guess we'll explore more of that as we talk. Mario, you go, because I've been talking
You're
10
amazing.
minutes.
Nah, dude, I could hear you talk for 5 years, and I would never. Actually, I've been hearing you talk for the past 8 years.
Yeah, please.
8 years. No, I love your voice. Okay. Anyway, hi, my name is Madia, but you can say Maria or hear Maria if you can't roll your R's, because most people can't. I don't know why. But so that's my name. I guess my most important identities for me throughout higher education and college, as someone who did a lot of diversity training and a lot of inclusion training and basically trying to teach white people how to not be racist. This was something that I talked about all the times. I can just go off the bat. So I am Muslim. I am bisexual. And I don't think there's a difference between being bi and pan, just personally. So I guess you could say both if you do think there's a difference, because trans people are real people, and bisexuality does not invalidate that, in my opinion. Anyway,
That's my opinion.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, but then there's people who are non-gender conforming, so bi would mean
but bi doesn't mean two. It just means you're everyone. For me,
I can see that, I guess, but I'm arguing for Latin's sake. Bi means two, bicycle.
But as someone who's also non-binary, I'm not offended by it.
Yeah, I understand.
Because I feel it makes it seem like people who are bisexual are transphobic or non-binary phobic, and that's not the case.
True.
Yeah. So that's why I just personally don't like separating the terms, but I just when I was like growing up and was realizing my sexuality, like bisexual was like the only one that was like more than just like men or more than just like women or more than just like one kind of person in the first place. Yeah, so like I just kind of, that was my identity, and then I was like, and then I learned about being like pan, and I was like, it's the same to me. Yeah. Where was I? Okay, so I said religion, I said my sexuality. My pronouns are she, they, so I'm comfortable with she, and I prefer they. But the reason I still have she in there is because, like, being a woman has still impacted so many experiences that I've had and, like, the oppression that I've faced. Also a survivor, and I feel like being a woman is, like, it has a very strong impact on that. And so, yeah. And then I am also, like, I've grown up and still am, like, very, like, low income. My family's been at the poverty line since forever. And so that, like, really, really impacted, like, everything I've been doing, especially in college, where, like, everyone was out here, like, buying textbooks and, like, just living their lives. And, like, I was like, I can't even, like, afford this, like, packing food from the dining hall and, like, bringing groceries home from the dining hall and, like, other college pantries. So, like, that, like, really has impacted my life. Also being Pakistani / South Asian / if we really want to go into that 23andMe, North African.
Party African.
Yeah, Melanesian, you know. Yeah, and I think that I have the privilege of having a higher education, like, just did that, you know. So I think that's a part of my identity. Like, that's that's such a big privilege part of my identity. Because kids of low income have a 90% chance of escaping poverty with a degree.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So it's like huge. Yeah. I guess I will stop now, and I will ask you guys, what is the most, like, powerful part of your identities for you guys? So, like, powerful, like, important, like, something that just really impacts a lot of your experiences. Whoever can think of it first, go first.
I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like I have multiple, but for different reasons.
And you can say all those.
Yeah. Like, for me, like, environmentalist, so that goes into, like, being low impact, being vegan, and wanting to be a farmer. Like, I just got a 5x7 raised bed at the community garden, and around my house, inside and outside of the building that I rent, is, like, my plants, the stuff that I'm growing for food consumption and just also for beauty, with, like, the indoor plants and flowers that are outside. But environmentalist, that identity is, like, something that I really am attached to, because it deals with my morals and how I act, like, how I consume, what I consume, how do I act in public spaces, where do I work, or what my beliefs are, because I really care for the environment, and that translate into my morals of, like not eating animals for their sake, or like how does my food come to me, and how does it impact the planet? Like, the environmentalist also, like, identifier is, like, I don't want to have my own bio kids. I don't want to have kids overall, but if I do, I wouldn't want to have bio kids because the environmentalist in me. For bio kid, it means a biological child, someone that you have that comes from your sperm and egg, depending on your gender and your anatomy. So if I were to be, if I wanted to have a kid, regardless if I had a partner or not, but if I want to be like, I Alexa want to have a child, I would consider adopting from the foster system. I also identify as someone who was a foster kid, so, like, that would be, like, why I would adopt from the foster system. And I don't really believe in, like, adopting internationally, but there's, like, the white savior complex, American citizen complex.
Yes. Like, let me bring this child here. And take them away from like their culture, and like not even let them develop that culture.
Angelina Jolie up in this.
So the environmentalism, it's like the root is like I care for the environment, and it branches out into all different factors of my life. And I really am proud of my progress as a child, as someone who has survived domestic violence, sexual violence, emotional neglect. So I guess a survivor of all this, like, trauma is what I identify and, like, am really proud of.
we're proud to see it.
Thanks.
Yeah,
you guys, I guess, can see growth throughout time.
An icon.
Yes.
An icon.
Icon living.
Thanks. And what else? And like low income. That's literally what I have on my Instagram bio because I want to show us like an example that even though you're low income and you may be really poor and you may be unfortunate, there are some things that you are very fortunate are able to. Like I'm able to go to school even though I'm low income, like go to college, and like I can still live a very sustainable life. And it's very doable, and that's why I guess my class status is something that I am attached to.
Yeah, some people can do it. Like some people can.
Oh no, of course, it's to limits.
It depends on your family size and
size and I guess also location. Like you could be like you could be low income and be in a location that is a food desert, and and you know like some states don't even recycle.
Yeah.
Some states like don't recycle at all. So it's like how
or have pantries.
Or like because in New Brunswick there's a farmers market that doubles SNAP, which is the food stamps program, and WIC, which is a program for women who are nursing, postpartum, or are pregnant and have children up to the age of 5, and they have like an additional food welfare
stamps,
for nutritional food. There's also my university's pantry, and you know
you guys are so lucky. You guys had that at your schools.
Resources.
I just went to Taffy's.
I mean Taffy was my roommate, and she you know like I don't know because second year we weren't living together, but I literally packed food to bring back to my dorm room, so I'd cook downstairs from the dining hall.
Oh yeah, I mean we're paying for that, like
you should
always
always pack food from the dining hall.
Take like because like a lot of it goes to waste. Like,
so much goes to waste.
Can we talk about how college kids just like
they just
leave a plate on the conveyor belt?
And not
for
just
their black and brown GDS like gourmet dining workers to clean up after. Okay, sorry.
And also like the stuff like they throw out like after like the end of every semester they throw out so many things like
I'm sorry, that's like such a that's so wasteful.
It's so wasteful.
At my school, at the end of every year, like everyone throws away just like everything. Like just the privilege
on every
of like
campus.
Shampoo, conditioner, like refrigerators, fans, like sunscreen, like all these like unopened products. Like I'm still using everything that I got from the trash in 2018. Like no lie.
Well, hey, they
like shampoo, conditioner, sunscreen. Like I have everything. Like stuff that I brought home. Like I brought a fan for my brother because like we don't have AC, and like there's just so many things that people throw away. Like I got a laptop from the trash for my brother.
Wait, really?
Yeah, remember the Dell
Holy
laptop?
crap.
Yes. I mean, granted it's like a $100, but like
Still,
it's a
though,
laptop.
it's a laptop.
Like, that brings accessibility to that person.
Exactly.
Yeah. We all like went to schools like that
white
Conservative,
institutions,
white conservative schools,
predominantly white schools, private schools, and like we all come from like backgrounds of like
not white upper class,
so like seeing other people just kind of like
the privilege
waste things and like not think about it and not think about like how much privilege they have is like it was
bizarre.
Oh,
eye-opening.
Also triggering.
Yeah, also made me feel horrible.
Because it's just like, no, like, this is everything that my conditioning told me not to do. And, like, how are you okay with this?
Like, you can spend that much money in one go and, like, not think about it. Not,
like... With no consequences in mind.
Yeah, we have a whole thing on
private
schools we will do later.
We'll talk about all that.
Yeah. I guess if you're done, do you want to say what your most powerful identity is for you?
Yeah. So I think for me, my most powerful identities is, I'm Afro-Caribbean. So, you know, what's up, Caribbean people? Parents are Guyanese. So that identity, being a Black woman, is important. And I grew up, like, in two extremes in terms of schooling. So I was born in Brooklyn and I moved to Jersey when I was, like, 5. And then the first school environment I was in, it was, like, mostly... Black students, but in their eyes, I was not the stereotypical Black person. I did not like talk, I guess, in like Afro-American like vernacular, and like I was, I guess, different in that aspect. So, and I didn't understand a lot of things in like prominent Black American culture. Like, I didn't know who Aaliyah was until like high school, which is like and she's amazing.
Which doesn't invalidate you as a Black person. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
exactly. Like Joe Biden can't, invalidate Blackness, and neither can anyone else.
You don't vote for me, y'all.
Yeah,
okay, Joe.
Call out post.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
so so like I dealt with that for like my like most of schooling in there, and then like I moved to the suburbs and completely different environment. I was around a bunch of white kids, all like really rich, and I was privileged to go to a private Catholic school because I had a relative working there. I'm also a survivor of like a lot of mental trauma that I didn't recognize as mental trauma at the time because I was told that I was too blessed to be stressed. Like in a lot of Caribbean and also like immigrant households, like mental health is not really discussed. It's either like demonized especially if like they're hella religious like my parents, or it's just like not discussed. So I didn't identify with anxiety until like high school, and when I first told my parents I was anxious, they just kind of prayed and thought that would just take it away. And not to say that prayer isn't a good coping mechanism, like I pray still now, but like you got to do more than that. So that's why I advocate for therapy. So like mental health is like a big part of my life. And speaking of mental health, I am also recovering from having anorexia. Like I have an eating disorder, so a lot of my content has to do with recovery from that, and I just want to like pretty much shed a new light on like mental illness and things like that in recovery, and that it is possible to talk about it in spaces where like it's mostly silent, especially like if you come from immigrant households and Black households, which is why I'm also like minoring in Afro-American studies, because I wanted to learn more about the Afro-American experience, since like I wasn't really taught that. Well, schools don't do a good job, but like
call out post.
Yes,
yeah.
But my parents also just didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I educate them more on that as well. So yeah, that's like pretty much my whole thing. Like they're both powerful and painful identities. But
I think like as you were saying, like you've told me this before, like with eating disorders, like a lot of the representation is always just like white girls.
Yeah.
And there's no like space for like women of color to heal from disordered eating habits at all. Like it's not spoken about. Like it's not like, it's just not. Like I remember there was this Greek organization, and their charity on our campus was NEDA, the National Eating Disorder Awareness, like huge like organization, and I went to them and I was like, I'm like so excited that you care about this, because like this is like I care about this a lot. And like it was like all white girls, and they were like, yeah, okay. And like didn't sell their sorority to me, and I was like, this is a sorority recruiting event, but you don't actually care about me or the issues that women of color face. And you, like your issues are not just white issues. Like eating disorders are not white issues. Like being in a sorority is not a white thing. Like being in granted, I will not ever join / did not, because they're so racially biased and don't actually care about people of color, women of color specifically. But like
I feel like they just choose like random philanthropies. We're like, wait, let's support this one. And
yeah,
like,
we pretend to care. We're inclusive. Like, oh, I had an Indian roommate once. I'm like, I'm not Indian. Like, you're not selling this to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, sorry, a little off topic, but also like I just relevant. Goes into like the intersectionality of like having to deal with like your color, and then also like experience mental health issues and like traumas, and then have them not be acknowledged.
Yeah, because there was a lot of things that like I was into that weren't like Black. Like I was the nerdy anime loving like rock music head. Beautiful like in like middle school, and like
Breaking Benjamin.
Yes, Breaking Benjamin. And I still listen to Incubus sometimes, but like
pop off. Pop off.
I feel like that was another thing. Like I was not into like Black things, and whatever, but like blurring the lines of like what's black, what's white, what's whatever, like it's not really about that. It's like you as the individual, but it is about race too. Like you can't ignore race.
You can't be colorblind.
Yeah,
That's
like
bullshit.
colorblindness
Yeah.
is no.
If you don't see color, you don't see us. Like,
Exactly.
what are we then? Like, are we just like translucent to you?
Yeah, because
If
race,
you-
race affects like all of our lives in one way
and
or
everything.
another.
Yeah, and
so
everything.
you can't ignore it. But
Yeah.
your most powerful.
Yeah. I guess similarly, like my most powerful aspects of my identity are also the most painful aspects of my identity. As I said earlier, like I'm Muslim, low income, pretty much non-binary, pretty sure, and I'm bisexual, and yeah, so all those things intertwined like really have like taught me a lot and like have really impacted my life, and I don't think I would be doing what I am. Like I wouldn't want to be an activist or an educator. My majors would have been different. Like I think like my entire life has been defined by these things. Like sometimes I think like if I was like just like a straight white girl like who had experienced no trauma or oppression or marginalization, like what would I do with my life? Like I think I'd be like a singer actress. Like I think like my dream was to be like Miranda Cosgrove. It's like I feel like I like sometimes I always wonder like what would I do? Like would my major have been history? Like I had to reteach history to myself because my teachers didn't. Like I had to major in that and then focus on education because I wanted other people to know that we existed. And like I had to major in women's studies because like gender and women's studies are like not only ignored but like there's so much marginalization within that. So like I always think about like what my life would be without those experiences. Being Muslim, like I used to wear a hijab in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And I was walking in New York City, which I'm also from Brooklyn, mostly Queens, a little Brooklyn, middle school, Brooklyn, elementary in Queens, and also settled in a suburb like Taffy. Yeah, so being Muslim, I was in New York City with my brothers, just got off the train, like near Penn Station. We were walking in the crowd, and I was like in my abaya, which is a long dress, and my hijab, which is a Muslim head covering, and like this like really tall like white man like with a fist like hits my head really hard, and I'm just like immediately like shook, and like I feel like I was like dizzy, and like I was like held back from my brothers who were like still walking ahead because they didn't see and they weren't looking back, and like he like mumbled fucking terrorist. And so like me, like 9th grade me, like 5'2", 5'3", like whatever I was, like small tiny being essentially, I'm like held back from my brothers, and like as soon as I like regain like awareness, I run up to them, and I tell my brother, and he's like, they're probably racist, and I'm like, probably racist, like probably, like they were, and I just I couldn't even and I was just like speechless, like I couldn't say anything, and I was like, that's like crazy that's like our world is like, you see like this short like small like girl who's like definitely not a threat, but like you're like inclined to hit her and be like, you're a fucking terrorist because you're wearing like a headscarf. Yeah, I think like ever since then, and ever since I was younger, with my my parents and my oldest brother teaching my second oldest brother to like be like wary of what he looks like because he has a beard and he's really tall and buff, and like really telling him like you can't like walk around like that, like you can't be suspicious like constantly. And he also has autism, so like they really like try to ingrain it in him to like be as like least suspicious as possible like all the time. Seeing that and that just really like made me so aware that like I would never really experience the world like in a normal way, or in like a not oppressed way, and that kind of like changed everything for me. And I was like I need to dedicate my life to making sure that like no one is like that, like no one's treated like that we're like represented, and that people know about us, and we're not like marginalized anymore. Like it's like I feel like people don't see racism and oppression. It's because like you haven't experienced it, or you have like no empathy, or you're just like so caught up in your own privilege that like you can't even like think about the world around you. And like my like life goal is like just to change that and like create more like awareness and like hopefully structurally, politically like change our system that's like just so ingrained to be against us, like, which we need another episode on, because I could go on about like structural like racism and Islamophobia against Black and brown communities, but I'm gonna stop on that. The other thing that I would say is that being low income has like really been powerful for me, because specifically like going through higher education, like I couldn't take out loans, like I couldn't go to college unless I got a full ride. Like it just wasn't possible. So like I like
You worked your ass off.
In high school. And Taffy was there with me, and, like, I didn't sleep, like, I didn't eat, like, I was, like, self-harming, like, I just, like, all I did was study because, like, I knew, like, I had to go to school and, like, support my family, and so, like, that was that was wild. So, like, high school was a trip. Skin color. My mom always, like, made me, like, bleach my skin with, like, Fair and Lovely when I was little.
Fair and Lovely.
Yeah, fuck that noise. Like, sign the petition in my bio, like, to ban it, change.org. Yeah, so, like, a lot of self-hatred. Like, I used to, like, put honey in my eyes to make them lighter and wear, like, green and gray contacts and blue contacts and use, like, layers of white foundation freshman year, which I'm sure you remember. Wow. Yeah. Like, and I used to bleach my skin so, like, I would bring the bleach cream to school and, like, do it in the bathroom, like, in between classes, like, have a mirror in my bag, like, carried a purse so early on, so I would always have my white foundation with me, like, it was so bad. So, like, I think that was really powerful. And, like, I don't look dark skin, and I think I'm, like, medium skin tone for, like, a brown girl. So, like, I can't even imagine, like, how much worse it is for, like, someone who's dark skinned. Like, my second oldest brother and my younger brother are both more dark than I am. So, like, if it was like that for me, like, I can't even imagine how much worse it could have been. And last two things are sexuality and gender, because as a Muslim, like, you don't really hear a lot about, like, LGBTQ, like, Muslims at all, or, like, non-binary Muslims. So I think it's, like, something new to navigate, and kind of, like, I guess, bring awareness to. So yeah, those are my most powerful and also really painful aspects of my identity. Yeah, glowing and growing, man. Glowing and growing. And on that note, something more positive, I think for us three, like, a lot of the things that we have experienced pain with can also be, like, some things we're also really proud of. So, like, what are your identities that you were most proud of?
Living on my own for now. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I'm my own household. Like,
your autonomy,
like,
definitely inspires me. Like, I have to say.
Yeah, I admire it so
like,
much.
Yeah.
Being like an environmental activist, I think. Like, I'm proud of the change that I've brought into my own life, the inspiration that my friends have taken from my actions, and
blessing us with your good vegan eats.
Like,
this girl can cook, man. She can cook.
Thank you.
So and I've seen that, like, growth, like, from being your roommate.
2016.
Like, literally, and, like, you're committed too.
Yeah.
So definitely, there are a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna do this, like, zero waste thing, like, for, like, 2 weeks, and then just post about it and then be done with it. But, like, this is your life. You commit to it, and I think that's another part of you. You're, like, ambitious and very committed. So
amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and being the first person in my family going for a degree and getting that degree, like a bachelor's.
That 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah,
That's a big,
nice.
Dude, things to be proud of. So, Taffy, what are, like, the aspects of your identity that you're most proud of / like, make you the happiest?
I think for me, like, one thing I can think of is, like, my hair. Like, as a Black woman, we know that, like, hair products are not really meant, like, mainstream hair products have not been, like, meant for our hair, and, like, a lot of, like, women of color, and I experienced a lot of, like, hatred for my hair at a young age, like, straightening, relaxing it. It didn't take until, like, one time I got relaxed, and pretty much half my hair, like, fell out, and it burned, and it was terrible. Like, you know, like, a lot of Black girls, like, they spend, like, hours in front of, like, the hot stove with the comb and everything, and it was just painful. It was awful. It was like, why do we have to do this to adhere to, like, Eurocentric beauty standards? So anyways, then I started going natural in high school. Mario was there for that. And Alexa was there for when I shaved, like, the side of my head and let my hair, like, grow out more. And I think that's when it really started a lot more. And now I fully embrace my hair. I fully embrace its coiliness. I can do, like, wash and goes and not feel weird about it. And I can wear Bantu knots and not feel weird about it. And, like, also understanding, like, the texture of my hair, it was important, and what products to use. And that's all stuff that we can talk about in future episodes. But hair, yes, big part of my identity that I'm proud of. Also just proud to be a Black woman. and to own my Blackness and not have it be defined or measured by anybody else. And I'm learning more about like just what it means to be a Black American as well as a Black like Caribbean person, and those intersecting cultures. I'm proud of my Guyanese culture. Like, it's cool because first of all, the food is amazing, top notch.
The bomb.
Yeah, like
pepper pot.
Yes. Pepper pot. Dal, the curry roti. Thank you for like brown culture too, being in Guyana as well. Like, I know a lot of like different dishes and whatnot, and I'm really happy to learn more about
Combined both of our beauties and just made Guyana. Like, Guyana's
beautiful. It's going through a lot right now, so if you don't know about the election, follow it because it's crazy. But yeah, so like I'm proud of my culture, proud of my hair, and also proud to be a writer and just a person in the arts, because like I had the privilege of choosing what I wanted to do and not being like pressured, I guess, to choose like something I didn't want to do. So I'm really like fortunate to have that ability and to run with it. And yeah, like through video, through the arts, through writing, I express myself and I can help connect with others. And that's like my main goal. I want to connect with others. I want to, by sharing my experiences and experiences of people I know, I want to connect and help feel others who might be going through those things to feel valid in their experiences and share them with each other and the world. I love like writing. I'm proud of writing, and one day I will have a poetry book out, hopefully, or a short film or a movie or a TV show or something, or a production company. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm proud of and happy of. And
yeah, I guess so the identities that I am most proud of, I definitely am proud to be Muslim. I'm proud of everything that I've gone through for being Muslim. All of the times I was called a terrorist. And I mean, no, but like on the real, like all the times that I've dealt with racism and microaggressions throughout high school and college, like I have so many, but that's another episode. I think it's like, it's all built me into who I am, and like I wouldn't know what I would be doing if it wasn't for it. Like I don't think I'd be as strong of like an activist and an advocate if those things didn't happen. So I'm proud that I have like part of who I am has led me to become who I will be. And so I think the other thing I'm also really proud of is like the privilege of like attending a higher education like institution and like getting the degree that I just got, because like I have an education and I'm the first girl in my entire family to have a degree, like cousins, extended cousins, like grandparents, everywhere. And like my brothers are older than me, but I'm still the first one with a degree, like a whole, like that blows my mind. And so like I'm like so privileged and like thanks. I'm like so privileged and so like blessed that is a part of my identity. The last part of my identity that I'm most proud of also is being low income, because I think it's given me a lot of empathy for the people around me and has like taught me at a young age empathy, and I really value empathy in myself and in other people, and I think it's a really important thing. Yeah, and so I appreciate the experiences that I have because they've still built me into who I am. And even though it was like really difficult, like going through college and like just every experience that I've had thus far, it's impacted, like I think it's built me into who I am, so I'm still proud of that. And I'm proud to be Pakistani / Indian / North African / Melanesian / entire 23andMe list, because like that's who I am, and I am tired of hiding who I am, because until 12th grade I lied to people and I never told anyone,
I didn't know,
including
like, where
Taffy,
you were actually from.
Yeah,
so
me and Taffy,
you guys were really good friends too.
Yes, no, me and Taffy were best friends since 2012, and I did not tell her where I was from. I didn't tell anyone where I was from because I like hated myself so much. Yeah,
and that's one thing that I've like seen in you that has grown so much. Like,
thanks.
I'm so happy that you are proud Pakistani, like proud of your brownness, like everything.
All the brownness, all the brown countries.
Go off, dude.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Thanks, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's I'm proud of that. Hopefully, finally, I think.
You
yes,
are.
I am.
You
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
No, yeah, for sure. I think like I'm at least I can tell people like where I'm from and who I am
and
now.
you're
Like
rocking your
that's
Mandy, and you're
yeah.
rocking like every
the
part of
bindis,
you.
the tikas, the suits, everything. Like I'm proud, so I'm thankful. And on that note, I think that for all of us, like being who we are and like coming from the communities and the marginalized identities that we've come from, like it's caused us pain, but it's also caused us a lot of experience, and like to be like the queens and bosses that we are right now. And like I'm just proud of all of us for like just like making it through and like taking these experiences and still just pushing through and like persevering. I'm really proud of all of us.
We're growing like Alexa's plants.
Yes.
She's a
Beautiful
plant mom.
plant mom.
Sorry, I called you out in front of. She's a plant mom.
Yes.
Like, her plants are growing so much. So
Thanks.
yes, she's inspired this podcast.
Growing and glowing.
Glowing
See
and
you
glowing.
Next week. Or next time. Bye, guys.
Whatever time. Yeah.
Actually, no. Bye, everyone, because gender neutral. Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Growing and Glowing. Our intro and outro music is from Lakey Inspired, titled Warm Nights.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at growing.glowing for more posts about future episodes, updates, and additional visual content that we couldn't share on our podcast.
We hope you subscribe and look out for future episodes while we grow and glow.